Hello and welcome to another exclusive GoodEReader.com review video. This is Nick.
And this is Marcus. Today we're going to give you a full review of the EXOPC. So this is the very new Windows 7 Slate PC that has hit the market. In our opinion so far, it's probably the best Windows Slate PC in the entire market right now. So we're going to throw some specs out at you while we kind of play around with the device a little bit. So it's an 11.6 inch screen. It's full HD, LCD, it's bright view touchscreen. It's also fingerprint resistive. So we've played around with this like pretty well for hours and hours, and there's really no fingerprints on the screen. Some of them show up here on the bottom, but on the actual screen itself, it's been a pure pleasure to do. It runs an Intel Atom Pineview processor. It's a 1.66 gigahertz. With 512 KB cache. It has 2 gigs of internal DDR2 memory, and it's running at 667 megahertz. It's running a 64 gig solid state drive, so we've found so far that running all the apps, loading apps, installing apps goes very quickly. And of course it is running Windows 7 Home Premium, and it is really configured for capacitive pen interface, as you see there. It has, let's just take a look at some of the ports while we kind of talk about them here. So it has 2 USB 2.0 ports, and you can see here that we do have a USB flash drive in here, so you can, because it doesn't have like a mini or a micro USB, you can't just plug this into your computer. So if you want to transfer data, music, ebooks, programs, anything else, you can just put a flash drive in here, then access it via Windows Explorer. You can see here is the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And this is where your DC in is, so this is how you charge it. And you also have
HDMI port. So
you can stream this right up to your TV, to any type of device that you have in your house. So you wouldn't have any problems there. You can see the power button when it's on, it's actually lit up. And this is a kind of a cool visual indication. You also have your hard reset button here. Also at the top, this is where you have your vent. So this is venting air. On the bottom here, it actually has 2 stereo speakers, but it also has ports here. So these aren't speakers in themselves, but this is where audio would come from. So you can kind of see here that it is kind of, this is where all sound would directly come out of here and here, but you also get it coming out of here as a residual. And this is your docking station right here. Because this is reflective, we've really dimmed down the studio lights here so we get like less glare. And this is sort of in an attempt to sort of show you under normal lighting conditions how you would get the most out of your unit. But when we were sort of zooming in on everything, we, turn up the lights for a second. You have your webcam, ambient light sensor. So this is your webcam. This is your ambient light sensor and LED light here. So it does have microphone input as well, and you get about a 4-hour battery life. You can extend that if you turn down the Wi-Fi. You also do have, and this is something that we didn't really show you, this is where you would put your SD card right here. So it's kind of fuzzy a little bit. There you go. So this is your SD card. You can also put a SIM card in there. So we also have like a 3G SIM card that we can put in there. We don't have it now, but you can. We do have it connected up to Wi-Fi. It also does Bluetooth. The webcam is only 1.3 megapixels, so it's similar to the Apple iPad in terms of the quality for its rear-facing camera. You can see here that it's chrome black. It only weighs about maybe 2 pounds, maybe a little less than that. Its official is 2.09 pounds or 0.94 kilograms. My initial impressions of the hardware before we get into the software side of things, it's very nice.
Yes, very nice looking.
It's I definitely dig the fact that it's a piano black finish. It feels like a high-end item, like in your hands.
It's not the lightest device, but it it does really prove to you that it does have a lot of hardware underneath the hood.
Yeah, and when we got our device, it actually came with a stand. So if you're going to be using your device for watching movies for like hours and you don't want to cradle it in your hands, you do have a stand that you can sort of just rest it up on. And we'll show you just really quickly how you would do that. So these are the feet that it would go on, so you can do it in, you can have it like this. And the stand is weighted enough that it's not going to fall over. It does have a very high build quality. You can also put it in portrait mode as well. So if you're cooking in a kitchen and you want to follow along with a recipe guide, or if you want to just watch movies in portrait mode instead of landscape mode, I don't know why you'd want to watch a movie in portrait mode, but you know, if you wanted to do anything portrait related, which I mean is an infinitesimal amount of things, given that it's a Windows 7 Slate, so you can do that. So stand we got it for free, but we don't know if every item comes with it because we did get a preview copy from EXO. Although this is a preview copy that we got, it's getting a preview copy is not influencing our review of it at all. So it is a Windows 7, and so far I'm kind of liking the way that it looks. You get multitasking, it does Flash, it does embedded YouTube videos, it does a lot of things. So you really get the full Windows 7 PC experience, but bundled into a Slate. So anything that you would do program-wise and software-wise, you can do on here, except it goes the extra step because they give you a capacitive touchscreen stylus that you can actually Photoshop. You can install Photoshop on here and just draw, you know, directly, which is very good. So it's you can almost look at it as a combination of like a Wacom tablet, touchscreen, and so you could like just draw right on here. So it does do a better job so far than say like a netbook would. These are our initial impressions. Now, here's the UI that EXO has come up with. So you can do the standard interface, but they also give you like a different UI, and this is a way that you know you can launch and read apps and get apps directly from like the EXOPC store. And these were apps developed exclusively with the EXOPC in mind. So you can do, say, the weather apps here. So here's, it automatically sort of launches Bing Weather. Of course, you can pinch and zoom. It does flicker a little bit. It's not as the pinching and zooming is not as stable as, say, the iPad 2 that we looked at recently, or the Motorola Zoom. But it's not awful. You know, it stutters a little bit, but it's not that bad. So let's press the back button here. Of course, you can interact with this device with the stylus or with your fingers. You're not locked into anything specific. So here is Facebook. So we've installed this. So this is the Good e-Reader Facebook. Of course, you can find us on Facebook by just typing in Good e-Reader or Good e-Reader, all one word. Here's a wired app that we got from the EXOPC store. So it's a full wired site here. So some of these apps just function as like shortcuts, and some of them are just like standalone games. So let's take a look at the EXOPC store here. You can see that it does break it into apps, reading, games, and web. So its web is broken up to like sports, tools, reference. There's a ton of different things, right? So for reference, you have like a dedicated Wikipedia app.
Let's utilize the stand so we get a better view.
Right. Good job.
There we go.
So just get it centered on the camera and everything right now. Okay, yeah, this is good because this shows everything right here. So you have all your dedicated news things, BBC, Fox News, Elle. So I mean, so far it looks like it has more mainstream stuff than even the Android market does. And a lot of these apps, again, were customized for the EXOPC in mind. So an 11.6-inch screen. You have all your Microsoft stuff. Technology sites. We're going to have to get Good e-reader listed on these technology sites here. But yeah, weather, you have a ton of different weather apps. So kudos to EXOPC with the Exo Store here. It really gives you a good way to be able to install a bunch of apps / widgets and / shortcuts without really having to browse all over the internet and manually find all these things. So they kind of, although it doesn't have a tremendous amount of apps, like it doesn't have millions like the iBookstore or anything does, but you see when we're installing apps, it did a little like loading animation and stuff. So here's just a steampunk clock that we installed. So very cool. And you can simply click on My Apps, and these are all the apps that I've installed so far. So it does it alphabetically, so from Google Maps to a piano player to kids folders and so on. It's very well designed. So this is sort of like the EXOPC UI. You can even do things like it comes with stock things to be able to watch TV. So it has a lot of sort of free-to-air channels here, internet channels and so on. You can listen to music. It has education. So let's check out National Geographic. See what comes up. It says it's scanning. We are on Wi-Fi, so it may take a little bit of time for this to come in. Let's check out all. Let's look at New Tang Dynasty TV. Maybe it wasn't playing because we had to allow access for it. There we go. So I guess the reason why it was stuttering a little bit is because it was firewall was blocking it. So load it up pretty fast. There you go.
Yeah, free TV.
Yeah, that's not too bad. See, it's not stuttering or anything. It's internet TV, so I mean the resolution isn't spectacular, but it actually doesn't look too bad in our preview video here. Ah, there you go. Yeah, so one of the things, hardware-based, it doesn't have any type of back buttons, doesn't have any volume buttons, it doesn't really have any type of forward-back home screen buttons. Everything is software-based, so you have to be aware of that with the EXOPC so far. Nothing is hardware-based, it's all software-based. So from the volume here, to muting it, unmuting it, to being able to go back to the Windows interface. So one of the cool things is that EXOPC has put its own UI layer on here, but it doesn't actually lock you to the UI layer. It's almost superfluous to the Windows 7 experience, which you saw we clicked here to Windows, and we see the full Windows experience. You can install any app that you want, like we mentioned, the Photoshop, if you have a favorite IRC, if you have an FTP or a favorite Telnet program, if you're connecting up to work via a VPS, you can install anything. We've installed Kindle for PC here, and you get the full e-reading experience. Again, you don't have to use the stylus. You can just use it on your fingers. You can slide it. You can just tap here. You saw page turn speeds are very good. pretty well any type of PC app you can think of that runs on Windows 7, you can install on here. So this really makes this Slate PC one of my favorites that we've reviewed here on Good e-Reader. Really, most tablets that have come out are I would say probably 80% of the tablets that we see are all Android based, or in terms of the Apple iPad 1 or 2, which is iOS. So pretty well almost all tablets in the market are Android based, and a lot of them are pretty subpar. And most of that is the fault because of the Android market, is that it doesn't really have a lot of big company support for the games. You don't really have a lot of developer support. Electronic Arts, a lot of the big name companies like BioWare, they're not making apps for Android, but a lot of them are making apps for iOS, which really Apple has run away with the tablet market. In 2010, nearly 18 million tablets were sold, and 17 million of those plus were iPads. So the EXOPC is definitely a game changer, and it really takes advantage of the Microsoft operating experience. So a lot of people are Windows users. A large percentage of the market are all about Windows-based applications. So it's really nice that all the applications that you live with day in, day out, Flash, Firefox, you know, we just downloaded Adobe Reader so we can read PDFs on the fly. The web browsing experience, very solid. So here's one of our favorite web pages, and I hope it is yours as well. It's goodereader.com. And again, you can watch embedded YouTube videos. So this is our full review of the new...
And this is Marcus.
This is a video that we just did on the new Asus EEE Note, which is the best handwriting. Yeah, it's kind of... We haven't really done orientation perfectly with this yet, so we're just slowly starting getting used to it. There you go. So you see web pages load up pretty fast. When you flick really fast, you're not really getting any of that checkered background that you see on a lot of sort of lower end tablets. Of course. Does it seem like it's pinching and zooming?
Of course, it is a Slate PC, and you don't really... I can't remember the last time I pinched and zoomed on my PC or laptop, you know what I mean?
Let's see if you can pinch and zoom using Internet Explorer. Yeah. So, Internet Explorer comes bundled with this. So it looks like when you use Internet Explorer, you can pinch and zoom. But it doesn't have, Firefox doesn't have the ability to pinch and zoom. So I was a little off base saying the whole internet browsing experience is not pinch and zoom. It seems like you can pinch and zoom, but only if you use Internet Explorer. So it's one thing you want to have to bear in mind, and something that you want to get used to. But we did install the latest Firefox 4. And that's what you're looking at right here. Let's take a look at Windows Media Player. So this is the same video player that you have known and loved here. There's a song here by Mr. Scruff. Ah, yeah. So of course any formats that will play on a PC will play on here. If it doesn't play the format that you want, you can install codecs by yourself. And let's access, you notice that we have a USB flash drive attached to here. It's kind of not showing perfectly in the frame, but we do have a port here because, like we mentioned, that it doesn't have a micro or mini USB port, so it doesn't allow you to directly connect this up to your computer. So if you want to load media again, you have to do it via USB. So we are going to access the removable disk. So let's check out how full HD stock footage looks. This is an MPEG-4 format.
Double click. nothing really different than you'd see on your PC or laptop. It's very fluid.
Yeah. This is more or less just like proof that this does play videos not too bad. It's not stuttering. You know, obviously it's not bundled with the latest and greatest NVIDIA or ATI graphics card, so you're not going to get like super awesome video quality, but the video is definitely passable to above average than what we've usually seen on tablets or Slate PCs like this one. So we'll just close this. So you can think of the EXOPC as pretty well, it's, in my opinion, better than a netbook. You can connect, wireless keyboards via Bluetooth, so if you want to be able to type. You are just relegated to using this, of course, but you can use your hands for everything. We haven't installed tons of apps on here, but we could leave it to your imagination that you could pretty well get everything that you want out of this. We do have Microsoft Security Essentials on here for our graphics card. You know, comes with Silverlight and all that type of stuff. And one of the things really that I like about this was the EXOPC store and their custom user interface. Here's the journal application. You can why don't you type some things in here?
Oh. One thing I've noticed is that it's kind of hard sometimes to rest your hand because, well, you can't rest your hand because it thinks you're touching something over there. So that's something that I really didn't like. You have to keep your hand away from it like you're writing on a chalkboard. You can't just accurately write anything because, as you can tell, that's where my hand was. So it thinks that you're trying to type something over there. Which,
yeah, you're right.
Is very unlike a piece of paper, as with a piece of paper you would like to accurately write stuff line for line.
But as you can see, it's not writing anything.
Because it's doing the whole, oh, you're touching there and there, so you must be meeting somewhere in the middle kind of thing. It's still very accurate when you write, but that's just one thing I pointed out that I didn't really enjoy about it.
Yeah. And it looks like in the note program, I guess you can call up the keyboard. So let's see if we can, yeah. Looks like the note app was just relegated to the stylus, but it looks like just the pure stylus interaction with that. You really have to be careful that just only the stylus is being there. But you can see here that, you know, you could press down and you could, you know, personalize everything from the gadgets to your wallpaper and so on. I mean, it's a full Windows 7 experience. I'm not going to walk you through
how to
everything.
Use a computer.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, everybody should know at this point how to use a PC, and so the EXOPC is very unlike anything tablet-wise that you've probably seen. It's a hell of a lot different from anything that we've seen by Arcos. Certainly, when you look at the lower-end tablets, like the Ogden GenTouch, garbage. If you look at even like a lot of the tablets billed as e-readers, like the Pen Digital Novel and things like this absolutely destroys all of them. Although this isn't brimming with specs like a dual-core processor, or it doesn't have, like, you know, a ton of RAM. It only is relegated to 2 gigs, where a lot of the more modern tablets that have just come out have 4 gigs of RAM. So it's not over brimming with specs, but it does have a respectable entry price point of about $500 or so. It definitely fluctuates with price depending on who you're buying it from. But we do really like the fact that EXO has gone the extra distance to make their own UI, to have their own app store, to having a lot of different books, apps, games, and so on. Of course, if you're buying this device to be an all-in-one device, it simply will do anything that you really ask it to. So yeah, I mean, you can really organize it the way that you want. It does have like little circles here that you can drag things to.
It's basically a bubble grid where you can put things from corner to corner and anywhere in between. So it makes everything very useful.
Yeah. What are your impressions of it, Nick?
I like it so far. I would have liked to see some sort of micro SD slot or mini SD slot for data transfers, other than just 2 USB ports. With the webcam and everything on there, it's well placed. In this sense, because it is a PC, I didn't need a camera on the back. I didn't find that I needed to take pictures with this. I would have liked to see a volume control on the outside, but there aren't really any buttons at all on the outside, and I like where the speakers are. They're not on the back, so even if it's laying down, the speakers are actually on the side as well, so it is vented properly. But I really can't think of too many negative points against this. It's a very, very well put together machine, and I mean, it's a PC. It is a computer, so
yeah.
It's very open for you to just go into a file browser right there. You click what you want to do. You don't have to open anything first. You don't have to scroll through. I want to click on the video section. You just click.
Yeah, it's certainly more intuitive than say like an Android browser, where just the whole Android navigation experience is unlike anything else. And if you look at say like the iPad, it doesn't really even have like a proper file browser.
Precisely.
So I'm all over this. This is one of my favorite devices that I've reviewed in a long time. It certainly has better functionality and better better everything than say like a netbook. I would say that if you're buying a device to bring with you on a plane, on travel, and so on, and you want a tablet in your life, this is probably the best that you can get.
Yes, I mean, buying a netbook is, with all the Slate PCs coming out, it's not necessary anymore, because there is docking ports on the bottom now, so you can just simply, if you require a keyboard, all you need to do basically is buy a Bluetooth keyboard or an external docking keyboard, and you have yourself a laptop/netbook right there.
Yeah, totally. So all in all, I'm very happy with it.
I would recommend it. I would highly recommend it.
The only sort of drawback I would say is the 1.3 megapixel camera. And they could have done a lot better.
Yes.
In terms of, I know when people video chat often that you don't really need like 5 megapixels or 10 megapixels. The better camera you have, the more that it influences the overall cost of the machine. I would have liked to see a better webcam. Also, when you flip it from landscape to horizontal mode, it actually blacks out.
Yes, that
and
I don't like.
And it's not, with a lot of tablets, it's pretty well instant.
I mean, I don't even need it to show the rotation animation. I just wish it wouldn't black out every time, you know? If it just simply switched seamlessly, it would be fine. But because it blacks out, it just kind of throws everything off, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can lock it with one of the tools here where it won't go from one perspective to another.
Yeah, it's I don't know, I don't really like the fact that it blacks out every single time.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, there's really no getting around that.
No.
I mean, there could be, we haven't dived into this completely as far as like the settings, so it does look like that, you know, you can adjust your brightness, and it does have some sort of, you know, EXOPC has loaded in a number of applications that came with the device. Overall, I would, you know, I'm not going to walk you through everything, because if you know how to work a Windows 7 PC, this is really not much different, except the only really difference is that you have a virtual keyboard instead of
a physical keyboard.
Yeah, a physical keyboard. So here's the virtual keyboard.
But you can type on it as usual, so it's not too hard.
Yeah. I found that this virtual keyboard is really intuitive. Certainly, I really like how it's laid out. I almost say that I like this kind of keyboard a little bit better than the Android keyboard.
Yep.
In terms of...
Well, this is they're mimicking a actual keyboard here. You can see the up, down, left, right, shift. Everything is... It's pretty much just a straight-up QWERTY keyboard.
And I use the PC so much in my life that... using this was hardly any adjustment at all. Whereas getting really familiar with an Android device it's not a whole lot more intuitive, just because all the apps that you use in your day-to-day life aren't available on Android.
Exactly. One thing I didn't like was this writing input. You kind of have to you write down, there you go, see, you start writing down letters and it then estimates what you're writing down, and sometimes that it doesn't quite ever match, and I just found it a little bit difficult because the way people write certain things like A, and some people write that weird 6 kind of A, and it just it's not very accurate, I found.
Yeah, I would say part of like the fault is just because of like Windows 7 was really not made with tablet in mind.
Precisely. Stick with the physical keyboard, and it should be fine.
And like Microsoft has attempted to make things like Microsoft embedded Windows Compact 7, but which never really took off. And Microsoft 8 is in development right now, which they have said that a large portion of that is devoted towards like tablets, because Microsoft recognizes that Windows is not indicative to a really good tablet platform, and they've admitted that, although I would say EXOPC has probably done the best job so far with integrating Windows, mainly because of the large screen for one, and two, that they actually have increased sizes of being able to navigate in here. A lot of other Windows tablets that we've seen, this is so small, whereas this is actually quite large. So they've really increased the size, and giving this really takes it to the next level. So all in all, I'd buy this if you had $500-600 to spare and you want to have a tablet with you. I would certainly I like this device more than I've liked a large number of Android tablets that I've seen. So if Windows is your thing, and you want a tablet that's an extension of the Windows experience, and you want all the apps in the world that run on a Windows PC and a tablet, I would say go with this.
Definitely. Alright,
so for a good e-reader review of the EXOPC Slate PC running the Windows 7 home operating system, this is Marcus.
This is Nick.
Everybody take care.